It's Wednesday, July 26th here at the West End Gun Club. It's 10 before 6. Got here this morning because I took the day off from work to run through the August 2023 NRL22 Course of Fire. So we're going to go ahead and start getting these targets brought out and prepped for this Course of Fire. I think we have I was previewing this, and I think we have a decent mix of props. Not too many. I think a bunch of cinder blocks, tires, rooftop barricade, ladder, tripod, and a chair. And then I think that's it. Oh, and the pyramid. So yeah, we got a good mix of props. So we're gonna go ahead and get all those out, and then we'll start shooting these stages in the Course of Fire. I am trying to figure out how I'm going to order these stages on the line, and we'll go from there. And one other item I wanted to bring up is sort of the tripods. I know this is the first year that we've had, or the first season we've had tripods in NRL22, and I think this Course of Fire, which you'll see in a few moments, we're actually going to be using a tripod for support. And I was just curious, I know a lot of match directors are trying to find what tripod to use, and most people are trying to just get a very inexpensive tripod. And I didn't buy a new tripod, I'm just utilizing ones I have, right? And so I'm not entirely sure what people's feelings are on this as far as the tripods. I think it's okay to bring in the tripods right now, and I think it's, I just am a little bit leery on how we're integrating this into the Courses of Fire. I don't want the tripod to be very, I guess, pivotal to shooting this match discipline. But I think right now, from what I've seen in this course, at least this month's Course of Fire, they are trying to introduce the use of a tripod as support, and maybe it'll get newer shooters who are not familiar with using tripods for support on how to do that. And I'm pretty sure that most of the competitors that shoot in our matches here at the West End Gun Club have never used a tripod for rear support. And so this will probably be a new experience for them. So I think that's probably a good thing, and just trying to introduce them to that aspect. Anyway, let's go ahead and get all this stuff sorted out, and we'll do that first stage in the Course of Fire. Here we go. The first stage of fire we're going to run through in the August 2023 NRL22 Course of Fire is going to be Science Fair Bridge Building. 1/22 part-time, 12 rounds. We have 2 targets, 1.5 at 55 yards and a 2.5 at 55 yards, both on single hangers. Restrictions, 1 bag only, and you may use an arco plate or barricade stop. You're going to 10 points per impact, 120 points possible. You're going to start standing 10 feet behind the ladder, rifle grounded next to the ladder with the mag in, action open, bag attached or in hand, tripod in hand if used. We'll get to that in this moment here. Tripod use is optional. On the start signal, build a position on the 3rd step of the ladder. I'm assuming we start from the bottom, so 1, 2, 3. On the start signal, build a position on the 3rd step of the ladder, engage targets with 3 shots near, then 3 shots far. So that's 6 total. You will then move up to the 4th step and engage the targets with 3 shots near, 3 shots far. Near, far, near, far. If you can't reach steps 3 and 4, you can use steps 2 and 3. And then just more experienced competitors are encouraged to use the tripod during the stage to demonstrate how tripods can be used as rear support. So this is kind of branching out within NRL22 now that they brought in a tripod. Everyone, just so you know, everyone at the match must use the same tripod. That's the stipulation, is the match director must supply that tripod. So the match director is going to have a directive where that same tripod is used. So I'm sure that if some other competitor bought a tripod for everyone to use, I'm sure everyone will use that tripod. But the fact is that everyone will use the same tripod. And so for this stage, you will be using that You can use it, you don't have to use it, but you'll basically just use this tripod behind you to establish kind of a position for your hand to kind of wedge against the butt of your stock and hold that in place for rear support. So, do you need it? We'll find out in a second. I'll just run through it real quick and then we'll talk about whether or not you should or should not use the tripod. But remember, one bag only. Step 3. Three shots in here, 3 shots far. Probably should have set my parallax before I started. It's all right. Mag change. Step 4. Tripod's too low for this, but whatever. Do we need a tripod? That's a real question. Probably don't, but it'll help. Target's moving. I'm gonna have to let it settle. Target's moving. 0.5. Barely hit that one. Did not adjust parallax. 12 shots, 107.46. Clean the stage. Very straightforward, 2 targets. I didn't adjust parallax, but I probably should because I almost missed the 95-yard target with my 55-yard parallax. It's all good. But the biggest question will be, should you use a tripod? And I think a lot of people can get away without it. I could shoot the 3rd rung easily. The 4th rung will probably be the most problematic for people on the 1.5 inch. And they'll be bent over, hunched over, especially when you're shooting an upper angle, trying to get that on target. So the tripod does help. I finished at 107.46 elapsed, so I had about 13 seconds, 12 seconds left on the clock. So the question is, are you going to take the time to deploy the tripod? Because I took it on the literal sense where I had the tripod. They didn't really say tripod had to be stowed in its collapsed state, but it said you had to have tripod in hand when you started 10 feet behind. So started 10 feet behind, ran up, deployed tripod. I think I deployed it a little bit lower than it should have been. So I should have went a little higher, but I think I was able to make it work. And then this is the Really Right Stuff TVC22i, which is the tripod that I elected to use for last match, and we'll just use this one for all of our matches unless for some reason we need to get really low on the ground. But this one's easy because it's only one adjustment knob, or one adjustment knob. Is it a knob? Call it whatever. One adjustment control here to get it really tall. So once you deploy that, just get the tripod in a position where you can use it, and rifle starts on the ground. Pretty much just set your position here, and then for those of you who are not familiar with this, traditionally you can just bring the tripod with your hand and kind of pinch your hand and grip the tripod, squeeze it together, and you can use this as a way to control elevation as well of your gun, like the angle, and you can move side to side really quickly, and it's pretty easy to establish a very solid position because once you're locked in, it's pretty much locked in. This is almost like cheating, to be honest, which is why in PRS they make heavy use of rear tripod support, because this is pretty rock solid. Granted, in this situation, you probably should have your balance point a little bit farther out, so it's a little bit better, like where I have my bag, but semantics. But I have my bag set up exactly where I would have it set up if I were to just not use the tripod for rear support, and I would just shoot like this, squeeze my bag against the side of the ladder, and I have a relatively locked in position here. My body is putting some up and down on there, but tripod does help. So if you're okay with the tripod, try it out. Transitioning to the next position up, the fourth is pretty simple because once you have that tripod in play, all you need to do is just move the tripod slightly and then squeeze it with your hand here. Sorry, I'm trying to get that on camera. Just bring the bottom of your buttstock, grip tripod, hold, then you can make the adjustment here. Just move it up and down until you find the spot, and then you should be good to go. It's pretty easy. Not much else to say here. So if you never used a tripod for wrist support before, and you have a tripod at home, try to give it a whirl, get a ladder or something, and try it out. You'll find it to be very stable. It's just you need to be very methodical and quick to deploy because it does take a few extra seconds to utilize it. So anyway, that's it for this stage. Let's move on to the next one. The next stage we're going to run through is called Fractions Are Hard, 120-second part time, 10 rounds. We have the KYL rack at 40, but only has the 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch. And then we have a 1.5 inch on a single hanger, 85. Just keep in mind when you see this footage, I do have the full KYL rack up, but I was just too lazy to remove the 1 inch target off the KYL rack. No dialing is allowed on this stage. Parallax and magnification can only be adjusted if you need to. You're going to start standing, rifle, and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, build a prone position and engage the targets in the following order. 3/4 inch near, 1.5 inch far. 1/2 inch near, 1.5 inch far. 1/4 inch near. Then you repeat this sequence starting with the 3/4 inch near target. So basically 3/4 inch KYL, 85. 1/2 inch KYL, 85. 1/4 inch KYL, 85, and then repeat. It's pretty straightforward. It's a 1.5 inch at 85, and I think my zero might be off. My windage calls are off today. I didn't even bother to warm up really. I think I took 4 rounds before I started that first stage just to get the barrel fouled a little bit. But 1.5 inch at 85 isn't exactly, easy. But from prone, it should be okay, but your gun just has to be on. It'll be easy if your gun is just dead on. If your gun is not on and like your call is bad, your windage or something is wrong, then you're gonna make some misses here. So just keep that in mind and have faith in your zeros, your dope, and your ammo, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead and try this stage. Okay, bipod needs to be adjusted a little bit. Brush is in the way, I'll have to cut that down. The glare in my eye is killing me here. I think I barely hit that one. Oh wait, what is that? Oh, we're supposed to just start back on the 3/4. Sorry, lost track of that. And then a 1/4 inch. Okay, that was it. 93.43. 93.43 elapsed. So very straightforward stage, not much else to say here. It's just you're prone and that's it, and you're shooting in KYL. The only little thing that I almost messed up here is it's KYL, far, KYL, far, KYL, and I almost started over again shooting far when you need to go back to the original 3/4 inch KYL and repeat. So, because I was thinking in my head, wait, why would I go back to the far? Because it's only a 10-round stage. So just got to remember that 3/4 far, 1/2 inch far, 1/4 inch, then back to 3/4. So other than that, this is really straightforward. Plenty of time to run this. I think I said 93 seconds elapsed. And that's with me having to adjust for the elevation of our target. So Not much else to say here. I think this is going to probably be an easy stage for many people as long as your gun is shooting well that day. As long as you got your windage call correct, you should be fine. Let's move on to the next one. It's starting to warm up and the flies are out in full force. I think they're really attracted to the sweat that's coming off of me right now, but let's continue on with the third stage and the course of fire that we're going to run through today, and that's history lesson, the zigzag Zigguart. Zigguart? What is that? The zigzag Zigguart. I don't know. 122nd part-time, 10 rounds. We only have one target, so that makes this easy and straightforward. It's a 3-inch on a single hanger at 100 yards. There's no restrictions, but this is the bonus stage, so if you finish with extra time on the clock, you get bonus points. Start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, you'll engage the target with one shot per position, starting from the outside lower left of the pyramid, and move up one rung after each shot until you can reach the highest position you can reach safely. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can't hit the 5th position safely, you're gonna have to just go ahead and move to this adjacent position and work your way back down and then back up. But it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots total. If you can't make it up, I can't get to this top position, to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's gonna be your situation there. All engagements must be made from the outside most rungs. So you're not gonna be on the center side. You have to be on the outside of the pyramid legs. So that kind of keeps people from cheating and just sliding back and forth, or from this position to this position, although that'll save you like what, all of a couple seconds. Not much really else to say here, just making sure that you can make this shot. I mightn't be able to shoot. Yeah, I should be able to shoot off of there. I am short, but we are shooting upward angle, so it should be fine. But we'll see if we can make it work. A little bit to the right, left. Shots hitting a little high. Can I hit that? Yeah, I can. Just barely. Dang, barely finished. 119.46. That's not good. This stage might actually be a little bit difficult for some people, even though it's the bonus time stage. You can actually time out. So I ran it twice. Once on camera, a second time off camera. Second time was faster, but way worse. I missed like 3 shots. So the question is, what do you got to do here? You got to move fast and establish position quickly. It's a 3-inch target, so it's relatively large. I think my first run was a little slower because I had my magnification dialed too much. I should have just brought it down to like 8x, to be honest. I think I had it down to 15. And for the sake of getting fast target acquisition here from these positions at an upward angle, probably want to go 10x or 8x. It's 3-inch target, so it's big enough to see. As far as using a bag, I think I recommend using that, at least a big bag, to get some body fill, at least on the lower positions, the 2 lower ones. You might be able to use it on the third position with a high kneeling, with a high knee or whatever, and then you'll have to just go with a balanced rifle on these top 2 rungs. But this could, depending on how you try to frame your shots, you could time out. But this is definitely an exercise in getting into position quickly, getting a stable shot taken, and then moving on to the next one and repeating that as soon as possible. So 10 positions, 120 seconds. So we'll see how people can do on this stage at our next match. Let's go on and move on to the next stage. Next stage we're running to is called Angles and Shapes. And I'll tell you right now, of all the stages in this course of fire, this is one's the biggest pain because of the setup. Got rooftop, 2 tires, and 3 cinder blocks, and I just had to haul all that out. And it was kind of a bear with this heat and all the bugs. But in any case, we have 2 targets, 2-inch on a double hanger and another 2-inch on a double hanger, both spaced 10 feet apart. 100 pressing apart time 10 rounds. There was a restriction here. You can use a bipod, but can only touch the prop utilized for the position, and we'll get into that into a moment. So you're gonna start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag and action open. On the start signal, you'll engage the targets left then right as follows. Anywhere on the cinder block stack, 1 shot each. So 1 shot left, 1 shot right. Middle of the lower tire, so the middle section, I guess I'll put tape again to mark like which is the middle or whatever. And 1 shot each, left and right. Then the middle of the upper tire, 1 shot each, left and right. Then the peak of the rooftop, or as high as you can reach. And I think, yeah, we should be fine here with this post here. So 2 shots each, 2 shots left, 2 shots right. Now, as far as the bipod stipulation, you can't put the bipod on the rooftop. It can only be on the tires, because it said the bipod may be used, but must only touch the prop utilized for that position. So your props are technically going to be your cinder block and your tires, not the rooftop itself at that shot. So when you're shooting off the cinder block, your bipod cannot touch the ground. If you're shooting off the tire, your bipod cannot touch the ground or the rooftop. When you're shooting at the top of the rooftop, wow, there's a lot of bugs here. When you're shooting at the top of the rooftop, then you can use your bipod if you want to, but I anticipate you probably won't. So one more time, 1 shot left, 1 shot right off the cinder block stack, 1 shot left, 1 shot right off the middle of the lower tire, 1 shot left, 1 shot right on the middle of the upper tire, and then 2 shots left, 2 shots right on the peak of the rooftop. Let's go ahead and try this out, but I'm gonna go ahead and get some water, and then we'll try out this stage. Miss, saw that go left. Tires are very wobbly. I think my choice in bags here probably not ideal. Let's go. 2 shots left, 2 shots right. Shot that left, missed 2. This stage is actually a little difficult. So given we're shooting upward angle, I like to shoot bipod off the cinder blocks. It was just a little too high and my position was a little too low, so I had to look up into it, and I wasn't really resting on my knee, I was kind of pushing against with my knee. I would have had to take a taller position on the bipod legs, but that would have spread me out a little bit more over the center block. But then the transition to here is where I was concerned about. And so if you notice here that my rifle is going to cam over with the SkyPod, so I need to come out a little bit more on the legs to get that balance point out there. And I could have probably come out this way to a little stabilize that, and maybe I'll do that next time. But that's how I elected to shoot off of this tire. However, I left this bag here, which complicated things, and I should have just took it off, to be honest. But let's go ahead and take this off for the sake of demonstration here. If I had moved my bipod a little bit closer to the magwell, I could have got a better position and used the bag here on the underneath my pistol grip. And then same position moving here to the middle of this tire. That's what I elected to do, is use bipod. And then just cam my rifle left and right to swing the targets. Now, the top of the barricade, or top of the rooftop, is the weird scenario, because technically I would have preferred to shoot my bipod here. However, I'm not entirely sure what the rule is as far as what is the top of the rooftop, because if I rest my bipod here, is that technically top of the rooftop, or do I need to incorporate this tip of the rooftop, this edge of the top of the rooftop? And I think you have to incorporate the edge of the rooftop. If that's the case, what I should have done, instead of try to stack my bag on top, which is what I am doing, I need to sort of get my bipod in this spread position here and see if I can just jam my rifle into the barricade to get into a target position here. And I think this would have been better, because I would have just leaned into the rooftop and been pretty stable. My gun's empty. Yeah, my gun's empty. So right here, I'm leading into the barricade, and I'm like locked in, and it's not like no movement. And I think I'm going to do it this way, because I also have my barricade stop right here for my rifle. So this is what I'll like to do, but I have a unique scenario because of my rifle build, and not everyone has a rifle like this. So what are your tips here? If you can use a bipod, if you have a SkyPod, that's what you're probably going to try to elect to do. You just got to be careful your rifle doesn't tip over to the left. However, what most people end up doing is using you can probably put your bipod in front of this, but you got to make sure you're not touching the rooftop. You can jam your bipod into this tire and then shoot that way. Most people are going to just elect to use some sort of bag on top, and you're going to have to figure out how to get your gun high enough, because we're shooting upward angle here, off this tire in order to get a good angle on the target. It's going to be tough. I think this is going to be tough, and there's no other thing I can recommend for people other than you need to get out and somehow get on a sloped or an angled surface and try this for yourself to see how this is going to work out for you. But running a bag, I think, is going to be an interesting ordeal here, trying to get your gun into a position here and just sort of holding your gun in place. So I don't know. This is going to be a tricky stage, and I think it's going to be the most difficult stage of this match. So I don't really have any other tips here for you guys, other than you'll need to try this out for yourself, because nothing's going to prepare you like actually trying it out one time beforehand. So that's it for this one. Let's go ahead and move on to our fifth and final stage of this course of fire. Before we continue with the last stage of fire, that last stage I ran through, the reason why I thought my dope was off is because I was dialed at 1.5, not 0.5 for 70 yards. And so all my hits were on the stem. When I pulled in the targets, I realized that all the hits were on the stem and high above it. So that's kind of why I missed some shots there. I think I missed 1 or 2 shots on that. But I mean, in theory, you kind of missed all of them if you're hitting the stem. But I think in a match, no one's really noticing if you're hitting the stem. So it is what it is, right? But for the sake of the run through, all of my tips still apply as far as trying to figure out how to get a good stable position on those tires and that rooftop. But that was interesting. I should pay attention to my turrets a little bit more. In any case, the last stage we're going to run through is called Don't Lean Back in Your Chair. 120-second part-time, 12 rounds. We have 1 target to 3-inch at 90 yards. No real restrictions here, but you're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, you'll engage the targets from the following positions: the back of the chair, 5 shots; seat of the chair, 4 shots; and then under the chair, 3 shots. You must conduct a magazine change after shot number 3, but before the last shot. If the magazine change is not conducted and all shots are fired, then the last 2 shots will be not scored. The last 2 shots will not be scored regardless of their impacts. So basically, you're only going to get credit for 8 shots fired. The first 8. As far as what under the chair means, given that I'm assuming you can use your bipod under the chair because you can shoot a prone position. However, given the style of chair that you're going to be using at your match, you have to be cognizant of whether or not you can get a bipod position. Here with this chair, we're most likely going to have to go with, I'm going to have to go with a bag off of that. And it'll just be faster. But let's go ahead and run through this last stage. Mag change. Oh, not much room in there. Actually, this is pretty comfortable. $97.11. I finished with 97.11 left on the clock. The most difficult part of this for me was the seat because, shooting at upward angle, I tried to adopt this quasi-prone position here, but what I ended up doing is I don't have enough elevation. I should have had my big bag, my WEBAD pump pillow. So I'm gonna use my WEBAD pump pillow next time, but what I ended up doing is just bringing my support hand up and just sort of resting my hand right here, and I was able to get some shots taken here. I think I have some rounds in the gun here. That was a miss, but yeah, this is basically what I was adopting this position. It wasn't all that stable, and I wasn't even putting my shoulder on the stock, which is kind of cheap, but I kept the gun still. So next time I'm gonna run the pump pillow, which I have right here. So next time I'll run the pump pillow because you'll kind of need that for the extra elevation to get my shooting elbow there up higher. And this is a lot easier on this position to use this pump pillow. So that's the only difficult part. As far as the bottom of the chair underneath it, I was able to get a nice easy prone position and get my gun angled up. Some people of different stature may have problems because it might not be high enough, their elevation. So I'm not entirely sure what you're gonna have to do. You might have to put a bag there. But I did have my little bag here, my Thin D bag, but that's all I needed. And that was really rock solid. I mean, it's pretty much shooting off a bipod, almost like shooting off a bipod from the bottom of the chair. So this is probably gonna be the most difficult part of this this stage, just the seat, but the back of the seat and the back of the chair and then the bottom of the chair underneath should be fine. But that's it for the Course of Fire. Let's go ahead and clean it all up, and then we'll wind this down and get out of here. The August 2023 NRL22 Course of Fire is going to be moderately difficult. I think there's going to be 2 stages here that might cause people some trouble here, at least. Maybe 3. So I think this is a moderately difficult Course of Fire, and we are now increasing difficulty as the season goes on. Because if you remember the first 2 matches of the season, pretty simple. I think they were easily cleanable. And then the last one was okay, and this one is now getting up there as far as difficulty. So That's that. As far as today, it's pretty miserable out here. I mean, the heat is one thing. It's just the bugs are relentless. These flies that are flying around, they just do not want to like let go of you. They're always hovering around you, and the bug spray doesn't do anything for these things. So that's why I'm trying to wrap up and get out of here. It's only 9:40 right now, so we're done pretty quick. So I'm just trying to get out of here. There's a bunch of wasps here too, and I think there's a wasp nest being formed inside that container. Like there's a little shield over the lock. I'm gonna take a look in there and spray in there because I think there's probably wasp nests starting being formed because I saw flies or hornets or wasps flying in there. So I'll take care of that before I leave. And then, but that's that. August 2023 NRL22 match at the West End Gun Club, fourth Sunday of the month in August. I don't recall the date off the top of my head, but fourth Sunday of the month. And I'll put a link to our webpage that we have there with FAQs and the directions to get to the West End Gun Club for those interested in shooting the NRL22 match. But definitely come out and join us. Hopefully it won't be too hot in August. But yeah, we're in the dead of summer right now. Anyway, that's it for today, Wednesday, July 26th here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog.